Hello everyone! Today was the first day of the World Cup, and interestingly, the world champion Magnus Carlsen is also playing in the World Cup. And after he wins this event, he will challenge himself for the title. Just kidding, of course, but it is interesting that the world champion is playing in the World Cup. And I saw pretty much the top 20 games, and there weren't really that many surprises. Some people managed to draw games against some of the top 10 grandmasters. Mostly the favorites won their games. But the biggest upset of round one was definitely the Canadian grandmaster Bator Sambuev crushing China superstar Wei Yi. And it's definitely a beautiful game. It's a miniature, I think it's 24 moves. I will put the interview with Bator Sambuev in the description below, so you can also check that out. So yeah, let's see this game. Bator Sambuev of Canada is white, and Wei Yi of China is black. And oh yeah, although Bator Sambuev is originally from Russia, now he has Canadian citizenship, and he also won the 2011 Canadian Championship after a playoff against Eric Hansen. Okay, proceeding to the game. We have knight to f3 by Sambuev, knight to f6, c4, e6, knight to c3, we have d5, d4, so the queen's gambit declined, bishop to b4, we have g3, so maybe a Catalan. We have castles, bishop to g2, d captures on c4, and Sambuev castles. We have knight to c6, a3, attacking the bishop, bishop to e7, and now e4. And here Wei Yi plays the knight to a5, preparing maybe knight to b3, also adding protection to the c4 pawn, and well, simply preparing to push on the queen side. We have bishop to e3 by Sambuev, rook to b8, preparing to push b5, queen to e2. Now Wei Yi does push b5. We have rook 8 to d1 and bishop to b7, attacking that e4 pawn. We have knight to e5. Now the bishop from g2 is defending on e4, and we have a6. And here, this knight to e5 move did defend this e4 pawn, but this is also preparing to push this the g pawn on the king's side. So he pushes g4, preparing g5, where he plays knight to e8, and here we have d5. And this is a good move. It opens up this bishop here, so it improves his influence. It kind of stops this knight from going into the game via c6. So Wei Yi captures, e captures on d5, we have knight captures on d5, and now knight to d6. And here we have g5 by Sambuev. We have bishop captures on d5, rook captures on d5, and c6. Rook to d1, queen to c7, and now queen to h5. And this is a very tricky move, queen to h5, as it seems like Wei Yi can capture this e4 pawn. But if he were to capture this e4 pawn with the knight, so if bishop captures knight, then queen captures this knight on e5, then he runs into bishop f4, and this is, well, this is very unpleasant. Sambuev would be threatening some very nasty discoveries after this knight jumps, for example, to g6, or even if the queen moves, the rook would still be attacked. And here, after this queen h5, Wei Yi actually tries a dirty trick to trick Sambuev. He plays g6. We have queen to h6, and now Wei Yi thinks that he can grab this pawn. And he plays knight captures on e4. And now if Sambuev would play bishop to f4, he would run into bishop captures on g5, as now the queen is on h6, so this tactic works. And the bishop is protected with the knight, so the queen obviously can't capture, and if bishop captures bishop, then simply knight captures bishop. And after queen captures bishop f6, and this is much better for black. But after knight captures on e4, this was actually Sambuev's idea all along. He decided to sacrifice this pawn, and he plays knight to d7. Threatening, of course, the threat is bishop captures knight, and after, well, the knight has to be protected or moved, and knight to f6 is the real threat. So threatening mate on h7, and if bishop captures, pawn captures, and then there's a checkmate on g7. So of course Wei Yi plays knight to d6, and now this idea is no longer possible. If Sambuev would play knight to f6 check, then bishop captures, pawn captures, and he is threatening mate on g7, but knight f5 simply defends everything with a tempo on the queen as well. So after knight to d6, Wei Yi played bishop to h3, now defending his knight there on d7. We have, and this is the most critical moment of the game, this is the point of no return, and well, it's pretty hard to defend actually. Wei Yi played rook f to d8, now attacking this knight, and it, well, the only square for the knight appears to be either c5 or e5, but this knight doesn't matter because Sambuev plays rook to d4, and it's in this position that Wei Yi resigned the game, as he realizes there is no defense against rook to h4. After rook to h4, black can't defend, and it's really hard to find a move here. For example, if he even tries to stop this by bishop captures on g5, for example, bishop captures on g5, then simply bishop captures on g5, and the threat of rook to h4 is still here. And even if he doesn't after rook to d4, for example, if rook captures here, then simply rook to h4 immediately, and well, this is completely over. There is no defense against this. Black can try to play, for example, with f5, but simply queen captures on h7, king to f8, queen captures on g6, and well, this would be torture for black. So after this rook to d4 move, this is move 24. Wei Yi resigned the game, and it's very nice that he did. So this game can be considered a miniature, and yeah, a beautiful game by the Canadian Grandmaster Bator Sambuev. So yeah, and I think this is the biggest upset of round 1, and we'll see what round 2 brings us. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed the game. Like I said, you can check out the interview with Grandmaster Bator Sambuev in the description below. And I would like to thank James Bolt, Aaron Lucas, and Sachin Shenoy for a contribution to my channel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, as usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon.